Thanks for your call.
Yeah, my name's David.
Thank you, David. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name's David. I have a comment on expansion. And, I think I love your guys' show, first of all. I think a lot of you have great insights, and you're all very well spoken. But I have an opinion that really hasn't been discussed yet on your show, and it's a little counterintuitive. So I thought I would talk about it. And I think that a lot of people think a weakness this particular fact might be a weakness, but I actually think it's a strength. Okay? And what I'm referring to is adding the University of Houston into the expansion pool. And if you'll let me develop the point for just a brief moment, I didn't go to college in Texas. I went to Notre Dame, so I have no loyalty in this fight. I just love college football, and just like you guys, I love the pageantry of the sport. And so my interest is I just want the Big 12 to succeed. And I just want to see Texas schools succeed, and Baylor and Tech and TCU and all the rest. And so my point on this is that when you look at any recruit coming out of Texas or even the Houston area, one of the things that they're going to be thinking about is for their family members, how many games are they going to have in the state of Texas compared to SEC or the Big Ten or wherever, the Pac-12, wherever else. And if you add another Texas school, it just adds another Texas game for their family to attend. And I'll even go further than that by saying that, there's a lot of recruits in Houston, but a big part of going to college, and I think I speak for a lot of people on this, is that a lot of people don't want to go to college in the city they grew up. They want to go, they want to take, they want to sort of get out of town for a little while, and they want to go to a school at another location where they can have a nice college experience. And then maybe, who knows, after college they'll come back to where they're from when they went to high school. But it's not a guarantee just because someone went to high school in a certain area that they're going to go to college in that same area, because they might want to get out of town like a lot of people would do when they go to college. And so I think the Houston recruiting pool is a strength, not a weakness, for Texas Tech and Baylor and TCU, because look, if those guys want to stay in Houston, they're just going to go to UH anyway, whether they're in the Big 12 or the American Conference. But if the UH is in the Big 12, now they got 3 games in state for their family to attend, and that might make them more likely to go to a Baylor or go to a Texas Tech or go to a TCU, because now they got 3 in-state games, and they might not want to go to the SEC or the Big Ten or anywhere else, and they might not want to go to college in the city of Houston. They might want to go to a campus. The UH is in the city of Houston. It's right in the middle of the city. But they might want to go to a campus like Baylor has, or TCU, or Texas Tech. They have nice college campuses. And so I don't think it's a weakness at all for recruiting. I think if you add another Texas school, you cement the Texas strength of the Big 12. If you guys go to 12 teams and there's only 3 out of the 12 that are from Texas, that's not a Texas-centric conference anymore. But if you add Houston and there's 12 teams, now there's 4 Texas teams, and now it's thought of, nationwide as a Texas-centric conference, and the recruits in Texas are more likely to go to one of those Texas-centric conference schools. What do you guys think about that?
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, thanks for the call. I actually look. It's certainly a different way to look at it. That maybe it does, and what we've been saying is the concern would be that it would dilute the pool a little bit, but maybe that's another way to spin it for the other schools that are in there.
No, I've thought about it from that point of view too, and I agree with you. I mean, there are going to be guys that want to leave Houston regardless, and rather than staying at home, it's better to just have a couple-hour drive and you're still away from home and yet drivable to get back home. You know what I mean? So, no, there's definitely going to be the players out of Houston that want to get away and want to go to Dallas or Houston to Waco or Lubbock or whatever. Totally agree with you on that. And agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, as far as the Texas-centric and all that, I want to make very clear I'm not anti-UH. Just for anybody that may be wondering, not at all, and welcome them to the Big 12 if they get an invite, and don't really worry about it in any way, shape, or form. My whole thing has just been looking at it from the recruiting perspective, but no, I've considered some of the points that you made, and I think you're absolutely right. There is that way to look at it as well. So depending on how the Big 12 wants to look at it, I think Houston's a very attractive candidate and a viable candidate. And I think if they add 4 schools, Houston's probably going to be one of them. I mean, ultimately, I do think they're probably going to be one of those schools. Now, if they had 2 schools, I doubt it would be Houston. I just feel like that wouldn't make too much sense. But if they had 4, I definitely think Houston's joining up, and I think you would probably be them, UCF, BYU, and then whoever you want to name that 4th one as, because there's a lot of different contenders from Cincy to Memphis to whoever else you want to throw in there. But no, man, great points, and that's certainly a way of looking at it, and a way of looking at it that makes a lot of sense. So appreciate it.
All right, one quick call that we got to break. Come back with Mitch Sherman, theathletic.com.
All right, let's go to Cleveland, Ohio, where we've got Stan.